morning, all you beautiful people. Happy September the 1st, 2023. Can you even believe it? Check this out. Hello, darling. I've missed you, sunshine. Get out of the way, house. Get out of the way, trees. Get out of the way. Ah, more trees. I know just the spot. Let's go catch the sunrise. And welcome back to another episode of Camp Hospital. I hope you're enjoying this Friday before the long Labor Day weekend. Well, we're coming up to my old sunrise stealth sunrise spot. Remember when I used to hide the GoPro? I used to drop my GoPro like on the side of the road to do a time lapse of sunrise, and then I would take off and get coffee and come back like an hour later. Some of my neighbors caught on to what I was doing and they made it a game to, well, pretend to go and find my GoPro. Good times. All right, here we are. Time for some real talk. That'll do just fine. That will do just fine. Well, here we are, September 1st, 2023. And never in a million years did I think I would say to anybody, especially y'all, that it's been 9 months since my last alcoholic beverage. Let's get the sunrise in the shot. There we go. 9 months. Wow. I want to share a few things I've learned in that short period of time because I'm aware that I still have a long way to go. I'm going to start with quitting drinking was a health choice, but sharing it out loud allowed for all the messages to come. I quit drinking too, but I didn't have a problem. I quit drinking for a week, but I wasn't addicted. I just posted on social media that I was taking a break from beer. Anyway, that's what happened. After a long decision, dry December is what came to light. December 1st, 2022. Decided to take the month off, and we haven't looked back. Quickly, first thing, I dropped 30 pounds without even trying. I've been going to the gym most of my adult life, been hitting it extra hard since the pandemic. Couldn't figure out why I couldn't lose those, last little 10, 15 pounds after the pandemic. Beer will do that to you. The moment I stopped drinking beer, the weight literally fell off. And the food I get to eat now, oh my goodness. Night and day. All right, maybe trigger warning, I don't know. Time for some hard truths. I've been with a therapist throughout this entire journey. I wouldn't recommend doing this alone. This is a place for me to share when things are going well, when things are going poorly, when things are going shitty, and when things are going well. It's just nice to bounce things off of professional people who can try and help you relate to the thoughts that are inside your head. Number one, it allowed me to see some unresolved trauma that I'd been dealing with and maybe was masking with said alcohol. Those are still some things that I'm working through. But I think the biggest takeaway for me, you see absolutely everything different. You see people differently. You see relationships differently. You see social events differently. You see eating out differently. You see sitting on a couch and watching TV differently the second you remove the alcohol. Now, we live in a society where alcohol is the big thing. It's the celebration. It's the means to an end. It's the reason. Long weekend, Labor Day long weekend, everybody get to the beer store. It's closed Monday. That's me. I'd line up, buy my 2-3 cases of beer knowing the beer store is going to be closed. Makes you think differently about everything. Makes you question your relationships, right? Do you hang out with people to have a beer? Do you have a beer to hang out with people? There's a lot to unravel here, and there's a lot to think about. And when your pattern has been beer with whoever it is for so long, and you remove the big elephant from the room, in many ways, you don't know how to live. So beer drinking for me, weekly and in more recent time was a daily event, okay? And so when you remove that, it was a means to actually disrupting my routine more than anything else. You're accustomed to this same pattern of behavior. That was the biggest hurdle to get through. And we decided December was going to be the month because it's the holiday season and we're going big. Like, let's go after this. So I will say positively, since I quit drinking beer in December, I've been to New Orleans, I've been to Mexico, I've been to a ton of North American international conferences, and I haven't cheated once. But flying to Cancun for a week and a half, that was a scary thing. Cancun is the Corona capital, tequila for everybody. It was a challenge, but it was one that was worth every ounce of discomfort I had while I was there. I became addicted to the number of days it had been since my last beer. That's something for me to address with my therapist. Was I replacing one pattern of behavior with another? I don't know, but the booze is gone. The booze is gone, the food is better, my headspace is significantly better. What I was noticing is the hangovers were getting longer and longer. The beer drinking started early and earlier in the day, particularly during the summer. You know, we're swinging hammers, we're doing construction work, we're educators, we're off. Noon, 1, 2 in the afternoon, wouldn't be uncommon to just simply crack a beer. Before you know it, you're 17 years in education with 2 months off every year, and you're slamming beers from noon onwards because you've been running on the treadmill the whole school year at full speed. I think for me, my biggest takeaway in this 9-month process, it's everybody else's perspective, society's perspective. You know, I hear all the time when smokers quit, we celebrate that. Drug addicts kick the habit, we celebrate that. Brian posts on social media he's doing dry December. He must have a problem. He must be in deep. Why is that? What is our relationship with alcohol in society, particularly in North America? Everything I've read says, stats are down. Drinking stats are down. The current generations, it's not a thing for them. Well, I live in a country where cannabis is federally legal, and there are a lot of people exploring using some of those products with the help of professionals to try and get rid of some of that booze stuff, generational patterns of behavior. It's probably been 20 years since I've had a really good night's sleep. And that means not getting up for a pee break. You slam 6 beers after dinner, you're up at midnight, you're up at 2, you're up at 4 a.m. That doesn't happen anymore. I don't feel so lethargic the next day. I don't feel like, blah. When I knew it was going to be a heavy beer drinking day, I started counting calories on what I was eating because I knew up here, you're going to the gym, bro. And that allows you to take on all kinds of body dysmorphia ideas. Boy, therapists make a lot of money off me. Anyway, here I am in full transparency telling you today officially, 9 months ago today, I had my last beer. I had one beer on December 31st, 2022 and said, I'm done for the month. And as the month of December progressed, I went, I think I'm done for a while. And today I can honestly say, I don't know if my relationship with alcohol is finished forever. I couldn't tell you, but for right now, we are keeping distance between us. But I do want to address, when I say everything changes and, you look at relationships differently, that also doesn't come with judgment. I have no judgment to my drinking friends, my friends that still want to partake. I just decided that I have a toxic relationship with alcohol. I started to refer to beer as my toxic best friend. It would tease me at night and we'd have a good time. We'd have a bunch of laughs and then I'd go to bed and I'd get up the next day and I would friggin' hate you. Mr. Blue Moon, Mr. Coors Light, I would hate you for what you did to me last night. And in many cases, I would turn to you again to make me feel better so that I could get over the regret from the previous night. And then this becomes a pattern of behavior, and you get stuck in that rut, you get stuck in that race, especially if your routine depends on it. Do you go to work 40 hours a week? Do you take the kids to sports? Do you do all kinds of things? And then you sit down and you go, now I normally relax with a glass of wine, but I don't have that. And if that's the thing you've been looking forward to, every day in that routine, that's a tough cycle to break, but it is worth every ounce of energy. If you think you're in deep, and if you think you want to take a break or get out, it starts with you, right? It starts with you. And something that, is really important to me on this channel as we try and chase financial freedom. I live in Ontario, Canada, where your average case of beer is $40+, $45, if you will. If you're throwing 2 or 3 of those back a week, we're talking $150 a week times 4. What's that? $600 a month times 12, and that's just the average. Think about that, okay? So that was a big factor in the decision making here too, is if I just throw off a couple of cases of beer, I can barbecue Wagyu steaks for YouTube. Well, I'll leave you with a final thought here before we do the morning Tim Hortons run. I had become so accustomed to having beer in my life. And by the way, not a hard liquor drinker, not a wine drinker. Love the beer, by the way. Love the beer. So, biggest takeaway for me after all of this, after 9 months, I wasn't sure if I could do it. And it means I just started with a day. Let's just go a day, 2 days. Let's just go a week. Do you remember the last time you went a week without a beer? Do you remember the last time you went 2 weeks without a beer? Do you remember the last time you went a month without a beer? And the fact that I had no recollection of that, it means I'm going back probably 20 years. That was probably my biggest takeaway. After the first week, I was so driven to continue that the thinking of, can I even do this, became, there's no way I'm not doing this. And here we are, celebrating together. This isn't an advocacy channel for you to go out and quit drinking tomorrow. It's a channel for you to, just my morning thoughts. Take a hard look in the mirror. The best way to cause any disruption in this world is to disrupt yourself, because that will disrupt your surroundings, the people around you, and the community. And sometimes we need a little bit of disruption because it shakes the cobwebs out of things and helps us progress forward one step at a time. Cheers to the next 9 months. 3 months to go, and we are celebrating 1 year sobriety from alcohol. I can't even believe it. Well, how's that? I'm gonna call this video Sunrise Therapy. I'm gonna send y'all an invoice for $75 an hour. Come on now. I just hope this inspires one person to be better, because that's ultimately what this was about. I'm hitting the gym, drinking too much beer, promoting on social media, all this positive mental health stuff, and here I am sitting at home with all these skeletons in my closet that I'm masking with the bottle. We want kids to be their best. We need to be our best. And I don't just mean educators, I mean role models in general. All right, enough of that. We're gonna get to coffee and get started on this wicked awesome Friday. We're driving right into the sunrise this morning, but it is that metaphorical reminder of all the beauty this planet has to offer, all the beauty that lies ahead of me on even just this day, even just this drive this morning to go get coffee. Everything feels differently. I'm not sitting here going to get coffee because I'm trying to shake the hangover cobwebs. I'm not sitting here going to do a coffee run because I have to support everybody who may be back at home who was drinking all night last night with me. I'm not going to get coffee because I have a massive headache and I have to shake all that before I get my day started. I'm going to get coffee because I friggin' love the way coffee tastes. and because it's 7:30 in the morning and I had a gnarly, solid 8 hours sleep last night. I know we've all got our own demons too, but I really need to address some serious issues in the education space. Since I took to social media as an educator with a large following and said my relationship with beer is taking a little bit of a break, I can't tell you the dozens of DMs I've been sent by other educators and school administrators saying, thank you for sharing this. Your transparency is beyond real. I'm also struggling, yada, yada, yada. I recognize the pandemic has just really brought on this onto our planet. I only work in the education real estate space, so my context is only through those lenses. But what I understand since I've been sharing all this is there are a plethora of educators, and I have to assume people in general still just trying to navigate, coming to the end, or at least we're in September now of the first real year, or maybe second real year coming out of the pandemic and what it's just done to everybody. So many people have reached out to me and said, just thank you, you're an inspiration. Even if I have one or two less glasses of wine this week, I'm better than I was. And I completely agree with that. I'm not sharing this with you from my pedestal. I'm saying we got a friggin' problem here, okay? There's a societal problem with how we use, abuse, and celebrate alcohol. In my 20s, it was friggin' glamorized. The more you drank, the cooler you were. If you puked, everybody talked about how much you drank the next day. It starts fun and rock star-ish in your 20s. But then all of a sudden you turn 42 and you're like, yo, bro, this ain't cool anymore. This isn't healthy. This isn't normal. I need to get things in check. But when you decide to get things in check, those of you in your circle that aren't ready to get their stuff in check, that changes everything. If alcohol was the bond that brought you all together and you're removing the bond, there's nothing left. Nobody commuting to work. Maybe everybody took the holiday. No, wait, Monday's a holiday. Maybe everybody just took Friday off, 4-day weekends. Good morning. Can I have a large green tea black, please?
A large green tea one?
Yeah, and a large cappuccino, please.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Come on over.
I joke about my $4 a day cappuccino habit. But one beer at a bar these days is like $6, and I can't just have one. That's my problem. If I go out for a meal, it's 2-3 beers minimum. We used to joke, you'd go out for a meal, it's $30 for food, $30 for booze, $20 for a tip. You're at $100. And how did that even happen? So grateful to be enjoying my bubbly waters. It immediately put me into a calorie deficit. Think about it from that way. My body had been so accustomed to alcohol calories throughout a week that when they were gone, the weight fell off. Literally fell off. I've been going to the gym forever, craving this own six-pack. Here it just literally started to show its face when I removed the beer. All right, I do want to say it one more time. I'm not making this video to come across as any forms of judgment. Everybody is on their own journey. Everybody is on their own path. Everybody's doing their own thing. I just hope you're living your best life to the best of your ability. And if there's one thing, I don't care what it is, one tiny thing, just look in that mirror and go, I'm just going to change it today, or I'm just going to change it this morning, because that's what it was for me. I'm just going to try dry December, and dry December became a dry lifestyle over the last 9 months. So I can't even get through the drive-through because apparently the recycle truck took precedent to the drive-through line. He just jumped in here and we're gonna get rid of the stuff. No judgment, bro. He's living his best life on a Friday morning. You got a job to do. Anyway, We're gonna get these coffees. We're gonna go about our day. Thank you for following my journey. Thank you for the support. Thank you to those of you who've reached out and said, you know, be strong. Anybody, if you know anybody who's suffering or struggling, it's not always the bottle, it's not always the beer, it's not always the cigarettes. It's up here, and when we can kind of try and start to get this under control, the rest of it sort of falls into place, if you will. The means to begin dry December also meant I really need to do a deep dive on this pattern of behavior and understand its root cause, the source, why I was continuing to do that, why I was, you know, enabling. Oh, he's waving at me and he's waving me and he's letting me go. Ramble, ramble, ramble here, Aspen. I'll keep talking. I'm all over the place, but there was no script here this morning. I just wanted to get up and share with you on the 9-month day. Anyway, peace and love from Tim Hortons in Harrow, Ontario, Canada. Give somebody close to you a hug. Tell them they matter, genuinely. And don't forget, you matter, genuinely. If you like this kind of content, tweet it at your grandma, share it on Facebook, make a TikTok reel. Peace and love. I got the cappuccino. I gotta go. Bye.